do you at some point, I guess, say you were to put this into action, would you be able to open this up to people that are like older than freshmen? Because like you're giving this presentation to us, well obviously all of us are freshmen right now, so we can't take the class and like say I wanted to.
Yeah.
And I know it's like the 1901
Yeah,
is
yeah.
supposed to be only freshmen or whatever, but
Well, that's like what we'd hope for eventually, but just right now, we wanted to make it something that was kind of required to get like a feel for how people are feeling about the course, because we thought about making an HONR 29901 that was open to like freshmen and upperclassmen in the Honors College, but we just wanted to really, like, in order to get like the full, I guess, feedback, like,
yeah.
potential, we wanted to just make sure that there would definitely be like multiple classes and kids in it, because like that's how the evolution of ideas is built, that like there's usually 2 to 3 classes per semester.
So is your budget for one section of class or multiple sections? What's the breakdown?
So I did if you want to go back to the budget. So I did the budget, as you can see, like I kind of thought, I literally put like everything down, but we were thinking like each section would have like 15 students, because it's an art course, so you need like a lot more space and stuff. So I accounted for like a lot more than we really needed, or I guess not a lot more, but just made sure that we had extra. But yeah, like with like 100 pieces of watercolor paper for 45 students wouldn't be, I don't know, they could mess up like 2 or 3 times, but like just accounting for all that.
You said you wanted to incorporate current events in their art class. This is just like, is there going to be a part of a class dedicated to researching these current events? Like, how would that be implemented, basically?
So the idea that we had was that when people are creating their pieces of art, they'd have to tie it back to some sort of current event, like something that's happening in the world today. Like, for example, like if you go to the picture of the exhibition. So like this was my exhibition that I did in my high school, and all of my pieces are about like the struggles of women in India. So that's like my overall theme. And so we were thinking for this class we would do something like that, and the way that it's an evolution of ideas is that the media that they're using it on is the things that were used throughout history. And then they can also see through that like how the art has grown, but like at the end of the day their overall theme is something that's happening like in the world right now, if that makes sense.
And oh, you go.
Also, this sort of like current events idea, applying it to like the outside world and like what's happening, gives us leverage kind of in our attempt to make it an applicable and like almost like one of the required classes that you can take, because otherwise that's why Purdue doesn't offer art classes really as like a prerequisite for STEM students, is because largely because it's not like, you know, it's not seen as tangible and like applicable to like the real world. So the current events aspect of it would allow us to do that.
And it's like a new, like the whole point was like the new form of learning, so we wouldn't even want kids like necessarily like doing all this research. We want them to like be able to express it in a new way. Like obviously they need some information if they're doing a bunch of art on it, but like it's supposed to be a different form of learning, so it's expressed in a different manner.
You might have said this already, I'm sorry if this is a repeat, but so with the current events thing, I know that the way the honors classes are typically set up is like Monday is like lecture, and then Wednesday is like project. So would it be set up that way? Like would it be like Monday like is when the guest speakers come in and talk, and then on Wednesdays when like everyone will work on their art in class?
Yes. Yeah, pretty much, yeah, that's what you're thinking. And then, like any other honors course, you're gonna have to spend, like not a decent amount of time, but time outside of class, like finishing your pieces. But our goal was that we only picked 4 major parts in history, because having a piece due at the end of every week would be like a lot. So by focusing on 4 instead of 8, your piece would be due at the end of every other week, if that makes sense. So
So part of the honors evolution of ideas group and interdisciplinary learning, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So what is going to be the group aspect of this class? How are you going to incorporate that?
Okay, so basically one of our ideas was during the exhibition, or like before the exhibition, like even just at the beginning of class, we were gonna put people into groups, and in that group, that's when they think of their like current event or like whatever's happening in the world. and then that group has to create a group exhibition about like what is happening. Another way is like, I know when I personally took that class in high school, a lot of us had the same kind of theme. Like we all had individual themes, but a lot of us were focusing on like social issues and stuff like that. So we created like a big group exhibition or like a big group piece. So that was also something we were thinking about, but we didn't know which path to go on.
So this is definitely a really good idea because there's so many students here that are kind of locked into like STEM prerequisites and stuff. So do you have a plan to open it up to beyond honors students? Because we have so many students on campus here that I'm sure would want to take something like this.
Yeah, that's like kind of what Katie, like it was kind of going along with what you were saying. Like I didn't mention it, but like how we hope to expand to like more like a higher level honors course, it's kind of like the same way. Like eventually, like we would really like these classes to be more available to everyone on campus. And like obviously, like we were talking about, there already are some, so it would be like we would kind of want maybe the existing ones to come down, like just kind of take it down a notch basically, because like and like maybe adapt more of a plan of study like this would be something that we would like hypothetically want.
There's also the issue with in terms of like paying the professors to teach it. So in the honors college, they have like the professors that teach like the evolution of ideas courses, and they have like a set pay, and it doesn't depend on like which class they're teaching. Whereas if you go outside the honors college, then it depends on like which kind of class they're teaching, how long is the class, and that's additional money that like at this time with like the role of this project that is not available to us. So I think if the success that it has at the honors college grows, then obviously the university will be more inclined to expand that out to professors.
Also, like $3,000 is not really like a lot of money for an art class because you have to buy all the supplies and make sure those are available. So we were trying to keep it small just right now, just so that we had enough money to support like all of the students that wanted to take it. But like if there were enough funds, like obviously we would be willing to like make it available to more people.
Also, given our current limitations, you're absolutely right in identifying that other students at Purdue, all students at Purdue probably have this problem, but the immediate problem that we identified, in our research is that the honors STEM students are probably among the most restricted in their schedules.
So kind of going off that question, if this were to expand, is there a way to future fund this? Are you going to add the required course fee? Like how are you going to potentially grow, I guess?
Yeah, that was like one of the problems we ran into, like trying to think about expanding, because if this was like a project that got continuous funding, that'd be a different story, but I'm not sure if that's how that works really. And so I feel like ideally we wouldn't want an additional course fee, but we probably would have to have students buying some supplies. And like we were saying, when we hope to expand to like audio technology, that's maybe something we could get from like grants, because obviously we wouldn't have students, like that is like so expensive, and like you don't need, like that would be more of like a studio thing that we would probably want like grants and stuff like that for, so that's something we could do.
And I guess that's where our community partner comes in, where the Tippecanoe Arts Federation, like hopefully, if this actually were like a real thing, they would be willing to like send in stuff or like help with that, because if their whole mission statement is to promote the arts, and that's exactly what we're trying to do. So we're thinking that if our mission and their mission lines up, they'd be willing to help in some way.
I was wondering what kind of grading system you guys were going to focus on in this class, because we do have to have the grades since it's the A2R. Are you going to focus more on like the art, like what you've created, or is it going to be more like how does it go off the current event, or like the teamwork aspect?
Yeah, so we're thinking more of like a reflection-based grade. Like, I'm sure most of you have taken like evolutionary ideas, so you have projects every week, and then usually there's like a little like maybe 200-word reflection with it. Like that would be the majority of where the grade is coming from, because like you said, like the teamwork aspect would be part of it, because in your collaboration skills, things like that, it wouldn't be graded based on the art itself.
And within the reflection, like it could seem kind of hard to quantify, but if you think about like if you think about an essay sort of thing where you, with your current event and your art piece, you explain like your intention and like what you were thinking and how your piece of art applies to, you know, this current event.
Other questions? So you mentioned the concern or the purpose of diversity in the classroom. How is it going to be reflected from the schedule? If I see right here, early Egyptian, early European, those are sort of, you know, high art type of content. So how do you incorporate?
I think the only reason that we sectioned it into like pieces like that is so we knew what kind of supplies to get. So like while it's your early European and early Egyptian and whatever, like that just reflects the kind of supplies we got, but then what they can do with those supplies is up to them. If that makes sense. Like on that Monday lecture or that Tuesday lecture, we'd explain to them what European art is and like why they use this kind of material, or maybe that's just what was available to them, and then we will give them that material and then they're free to like do what they want with it, I guess.
Also, the diversity can come from the social issues that the students choose, because at least in the 18901 course, this is the first semester that a lot of students are on campus, and so this will be a way for them to see what their peers are like passionate about, and things like that. And especially in the university like Purdue, when there's a lot of different diverse students, I think that'll also, especially in the Honors College on its own, this will also help bring the diversity into the classroom in terms of the topics that they choose.
And with the this is more like amongst students, but the interdisciplinary learning, because you work with people of like a bunch of different majors. Like I know my group this semester was like a pre-med student, like me in wildlife. We had like a audio like technician or like computer science. Like there's a bunch of different like people from all interests that come together too to like work on the group projects.
Also, I think to your concern about the limitations of the styles of art, we are limited in how many styles of art, because we're not expecting the students to just be like, you know, spitting out work. So ideally, with that problem that you identified, maybe with expansion of this sort of program, we would be able to access different styles of art.
Other questions?